bringing ideas to life. I'm Maggie Thomas, here about a new business in Starkville that's the first of its kind in the state of Mississippi.
Finding it hard to stay motivated to finish out this spring semester? I'm Eliza Heidelberg. Find out why teachers say it's important to keep the motivation up.
This week, I met with members of Mississippi State's basketball team that fans might not know by name. I'm Reed Williams, and I have their story.
One cotton swab. I'm Sarah Massey, and see how one cotton swab can save a life.
People with blood cancers and other life-threatening diseases desperately need it to survive, but it may be harder for some to get. Thank you for joining us. For Take 30 News, I'm Megan Terry.
And I'm Reed Williams. Take 30's Sarah Massey joins us now live with why minorities may have a harder time getting bone marrow transplants.
Thank you, Reed. A group of students on Mississippi State's campus is trying to spread awareness about bone marrow donation for all races through an international bone marrow registry called Gift of Life. I spoke with Melanie Baker, a senior biochemistry major who is one of the Gift of Life ambassadors.
If you are a Caucasian male or female, you probably have about a 90% chance of finding a match. But Gift of Life was created by an Ashkenazi Jew who was having an issue finding a match, and so his family started the organization so that they could find one specific for their DNA match. So what we try to do is try to get as many people as possible of different backgrounds on the registry so everyone has as equal chance to find a match.
Melanie and 4 other students advocate by handing out donation kits to students who want to be a potential match for bone marrow. So the Gift of Life swabbing kit is super simple to use. All you do is take the kit, open it, and fill out the form on the inside. Then there's 4 swabs on the inside of the packet. You take each swab and wipe the inside of your mouth in 4 quadrants. Take the swabs and put it back into the kit, and then conceal it and ship it off. 2 ways to donate are by hip bone or drawing blood.
The thing that Gift of Life does is we really try to push the knowledge of what you're swabbing, what you're signing up for. So it's really easy to be like, hey, get over here and swab and do this thing. But what we want is donors who are willing to donate.
So far, they've gotten 2 students to complete the entire process.
Gift of Life really gives you a perspective that everything is so much bigger than just you. But even though everything is so much bigger than you, that doesn't mean that you can't make an impact as an individual.
Besides donating bone marrow, Gift of Life also accepts monetary donations and volunteer work. Reed?
Thanks, Sarah. For more information, visit the MSU Gift of Life Instagram page at giftoflife_MSU or visit www.giftoflife.org. Just this week, Starkville police arrested 31-year-old LaTanya Brown from Ackerman with simple assault on a law enforcement officer and domestic violence. After police responded to a report of an assault at Rolling Hills Apartments, officers tried to arrest Brown. When reports say that Brown struck at an officer while attempting to resist arrest, a male subject was also reported to have been charged with domestic violence and simple assault. Anyone with additional information is asked to contact the Starkville Police Department at 662-323-4131.
Well, there's a new business in downtown Starkville, and it's unlike anything else.
They're in the business of creating other businesses for businesses. Maggie's Take 30's Maggie Thomas joins us live with more.
Thanks, Reed. The Idea Shop was started by Mississippi State because they felt that a split retail and makerspace like this would be beneficial to the MSU and Starkville community. Inside Mississippi State's Idea Shop, students and community members of all ages can become entrepreneurs. The shop is the product of a collaboration between the MSU Entrepreneurship Center and the School of Human Sciences. The front section of the space is a retail accelerator where entrepreneurs apply for a spot to sell their products in order to collect data and gain experience working in retail. The back section is a makerspace. Students and community members pay a monthly fee for access to these tools to create products. Program Coordinator Michael Lane says the goal of the business is to foster entrepreneurship in Starkville.
We want to blend that line of town and gown between MSU and the city of Starkville and give anybody access to be able to start businesses.
MSU Maker Society co-president Ethan Welford says it's exciting to see people using the Idea Shop to learn new skills.
I've definitely seen it help other students, especially people who aren't necessarily in engineering concentrations, do things that they wouldn't normally do. So like, I saw one guy the other day come in here and build a chair, and he like never built anything like that. And he just came in, bought the stock from upstairs and built it, and I thought that was really cool.
Fellow MSU Maker Society co-president Alexander Ward says he hopes the Idea Shop becomes a source of community in Starkville.
Instead of going to the movies or something, they can come in and build something together, and they learn skills that will later on help them in life as well.
Lane said the Idea Shop is partnering with local K-12 schools and hosting workshops in the space to teach about entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Maggie. If you would like to find out more about the Idea Shop, you can find a link to their website on the Take 30 News Facebook page.
Our first look at weather shows a regional continuation of much warmer and hopefully drier weather than we've seen here in Starkville the past few weeks. Checking in with Starkville, 60 degrees, Jackson, 60, looking southward to the Gulfport Biloxi area at 62 degrees, and our eastern neighbors in Alabama are looking at 57 degrees in the Birmingham area. This was a first look at weather brought to you by the MSU Campus Connect and Meteorology Department. We'll have your complete forecast coming soon along with something else. Right, Reed?
While it might not seem like an actual disease, sometimes it might feel like one. How to combat so-called senioritis when we return.
Student-powered television news program at Mississippi State.
We've got the latest weather report.
We go far and wide to tell you the stories you need to hear from your campus. From parking.
Parking spots are becoming more and more scarce.
To sports.
Also, the opening of the new Polk-Demet Stadium.
To how to stay healthy.
It is supposed to lessen your symptoms.
Take 30 News is the news you need, wrapped in maroon and white.
A baby's arrival can be one of the most exciting times in a family's life. It can also be one of the most anxious, especially if the child's development is hindered by medical challenges that create more questions than answers. At Mississippi State University, we're groundbreakers in the study of CHARGE syndrome, a genetic condition that leads to a host of life-threatening birth defects. Our research teams are uncovering breakthroughs in treatment and prevention with a goal of greater understanding that leads to better care. We're also providing crucial support resources for parents and helping physicians around the globe gain awareness so symptoms can be detected and addressed earlier. By engaging in this innovative analysis and therapy, we're not only improving outcomes, we're unlocking brighter futures.
Welcome back. Now that spring break is over, we are on the final stretch to summer, or for some, graduation.
And you may be finding it hard to go to class with this nice spring weather, but Take 30's Eliza Heidelberg has tips from teachers to help you finish out this semester.
With spring upon us and graduation in sight, it can be difficult for seniors to focus on schoolwork. If you find yourself losing focus or motivation, you may have a case of senioritis. There can be various reasons for senioritis, but Dr. Laura Walton says it could be because many seniors have shifting priorities.
I think job interviews become more important, job applications become more important maybe than classwork for some seniors who are graduating. So that does make it hard to figure out what are priorities and how to balance those things.
Senior Rains Cook sees the importance of keeping up a strong work ethic.
It's definitely tempting to kind of just sail on into the finish line, but I definitely want to keep my grades high. My teachers still have high expectations.
Dr. Randy Little advises students to take your assignments a little bit at a time.
It's a message for any student or any of us when we have a goal to break things down into manageable pieces and just kind of focus on the pieces. Don't focus on all the other things, but just one tiny little piece and get that done, and then move on to the next one.
Dr. Steve Schaefer warns students why they should not give up.
People will always remember how you acted, even if you're a graduating senior. And so if an employer happens to call a professor and ask for more information about them, You don't want the professor to say, well, I don't even know who they are. They kind of disappeared after midterm. So that's not a good idea.
Although it is easy to slack off and enjoy the beautiful weather that's coming our way this spring, remember you might need teachers to write you letters of rec or talk to your potential employers. So don't forget to finish strong and keep studying. I'm Liza Heidelberg with Take 30 News.
Teachers say that class attendance and participation is one of the biggest factors that they take into consideration before writing letters of recommendation. So be sure that you let them know when you miss class for interviews or for school visits. After this break, we'll bring you the full forecast. You're watching Take 30 News.
You know the scene in those popular TV crime shows when the investigators show up? The one where they scratch their heads while trying to figure out who committed the homicide and when? At Mississippi State University, we're solving mysteries behind real-life crime scenes with forensic research that's a first of its kind. Teaming with microbiologists from around the country, we're examining microscopic bacteria that can help solve real murders. So far, our partnership with a major metropolitan medical examiner is yielding results with more than 200 real-life crime samples analyzed. We're learning how microbiomes change and relocate, uncovering evidence in criminal investigations by better pinpointing time of death. Way more exciting than being a TV detective. We're finding crucial answers when they're needed most. Solving mysteries with science, that's worth watching. What drives you? What pushes you forward? Is it an appetite to be the best or a calling to make a difference? For those of us here at Mississippi State University, it's both. We're designing a future where cutting-edge hybrid technology isn't imported from overseas, but exported from our own backyard. We're working toward a day when solutions to energy independence move at 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds and are as simple as charging a phone. A day when fuel economy and environmentally friendly are viewed as less of a compromise and look more like this. For us, turning heads in the auto industry is great, but living up to the hype is even better. That's because it's about more than simply envisioning the future. It's about getting there. And here at Mississippi State, we know just the ride to take.
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at your 7-day forecast provided by MSU Campus Connect in the Meteorology Department. Next Monday, there's a good chance that you'll leave the house with your good old umbrella and rain boots because there's a 60% chance of rain with a high of 58, a low of 48 degrees that night going into Tuesday, where the high is 68 degrees, which is a slight cloud coverage. Wednesday, a high of 76 degrees and a low of 64, leading us into a stormy Thursday with a 78% chance of thunderstorms and, oh no, a low of 46 degrees, which means Friday through Sunday will be cooled down into the high 50s, 58 on Friday, 56 Saturday, and 58 on Sunday. At least during these last few weeks, these last few days of next week, we should see some sunshine coming back out.
Well, March brought spring break and St. Patrick's Day, but Megan, there's something else that other people are celebrating.
That's right, Reed. And Take 30's Taylor Wright shows us how some people are using art to celebrate Women's History Month this month.
One way they are celebrating this special month is through the Imitation of Life photography exhibition on display in the Colvard Student Union's second floor art gallery. Local artists were able to submit their work. The program coordinator, Hannah Reyes, said that because there's not a lot of room for female artists in this industry, she wanted to make this exhibit exclusive to them. This exhibition is just one of the many things to celebrate this Women's History Month.
So as a woman, it is just a time of recognition. It's long overdue.
I think it's just like so cool that, you get to celebrate people like me and like y'all. So yeah, and all the people that were before us and everyone in between.
For a list of the remaining Women's History Month events at Mississippi State, visit our Take 30 News Facebook page. And don't go anywhere because Take 30 Sports is coming up next.
You know the scene in those popular TV crime shows when the investigators show up? The one where they scratch their heads while trying to figure out who committed the homicide and when? At Mississippi State University, we're solving mysteries behind real-life crime scenes with forensic research that's a first of its kind. Teaming with microbiologists from around the country, we're examining microscopic bacteria that can help solve real murders. So far, our partnership with a major metropolitan medical examiner is yielding results with more than 200 real-life crime samples analyzed. We're learning how microbiomes change and relocate, uncovering evidence in criminal investigations by better pinpointing time of death. Way more exciting than being a TV detective. We're finding crucial answers when they're needed most. Solving mysteries with science, that's worth watching. It's a simple idea. Knowledge that transforms lives shouldn't be limited to those on a campus, but extended to any and all who want or need it, wherever they are. At Mississippi State University, we've been making that possible for more than 100 years through the MSU Extension Service. What began as an effort to extend the latest research to farmers has become something much more. Today, we're helping Mississippians from all walks of life, giving them the tools they need to build a brighter future. We're sparking the imagination of students around the state and inspiring the next generation of doctors. We're helping rural communities find their way to the internet and connect to the world at large. And we're teaching families how to lead healthier lives in ways both big and small. MSU is standing firm in its commitment to that one simple idea: extend the knowledge that transforms lives wherever they are.
Hey, welcome back. There is more to a successful basketball program than good players and good coaches. This week, I met with a couple of behind-the-scenes guys as they shared their story. The college basketball season is just now wrapping up, and Mississippi State is now preparing for the postseason. The men's basketball team lost in the semifinals last year in the NIT, but this year, the Bulldogs returned to the big dance for the first time since 2009. A lot of hard work goes into a basketball season, but what about those who work for the team? It's the athletes on this court that get all the recognition when it comes to a successful basketball season. However, there's a lot of work behind the scenes from the basketball managers that often go unnoticed but still play an important role.
Okay, my job as a manager is important because if it was not for the managers, players wouldn't have their practice loops for practice every day. Players wouldn't have their jerseys. Players wouldn't get rebounded for. Like, there's so much we do that helps the program function as a whole that goes unnoticed a lot of the time. I like being a part of it because, you know, our message of family, it really holds true.
The manager spoke about how dedicated it takes to do this job. It takes a lot of time, and at times you also need to have a sense of humility.
I mean, you're doing another grown man's laundry basically every day. If you don't have like humility, like, okay, I got to do this for my job. This job's really almost a 25 to 8 job. Like, we're always on call in case something happens. It's tough because I've had instances like be hanging out with friends or something and you get a phone call like, so-and-so's coming to shoot, they need you to come rebound. This job, like, the coaches and players, like, make it all worth it because they're all, like, really nice to you and genuine. They don't treat you like dirt, even though what you do is basically like the lowest of the low for the program.
The Mississippi State men's basketball team will play Liberty University in the round of 64 tomorrow in San Jose, California.
Well, the big dance has arrived for the Lady Bulldogs basketball team. On Monday, ESPN announced that the tournament bracket for the women's tournament. But the announcement was a little different this year. ESPN, during one of their broadcasts, mistakenly placed the bracket for both the men and women's tournaments on display by mistake, even though the women's bracket was to be revealed hours later that day. ESPN later apologized. The Bulldogs were given a number 1 and still had their announcement party that day. Head coach Vic Schaefer spoke to the media after the official announcement.
Again, just so proud of our team. It's so hard to do, y'all. And to be where we are today with this group, my hat's off to our team. My staff has done an unbelievable job with these kids. And, you know, we'll see how long we can play.
The first game of the tournament for the Bulldogs is Friday at 8 p.m. at Humphrey Coliseum. This season, not just one team made it to the NCAA tournament, but both basketball teams are dancing into the postseason. The last time both the men's and women's teams were in the NCAA tournament was in 2009. This will make the fourth time that both teams have been to the dance since 2002, 2003, and 2009.
Sit up straight, soldier! If you don't give me what you owe me right now, you're gonna be doing push-ups all night. Push-ups? What's a push-up? I've never done push-ups. You need to sit up in the front lead and rest and give me 20 right now. Push all the way down. I want that chest touching the ground.
Take 30 News is the only student-powered television news program at Mississippi State.
We've got the latest weather report.
We go far and wide to tell you the stories you need to hear from your campus. From parking.
Parking spots are becoming more and more scarce.
To sports.
Also, the opening of the new Polk DeMint Stadium.
To how to stay healthy.
It is supposed to lessen your symptoms.
Take 30 News is the news you need, wrapped in maroon and white.
Hey, welcome everybody. I'm sitting here in studio with Landon Knowlton. Landon is a good friend of mine, and he is also a contestant on this season's American Idol. Landon, how are you doing?
I'm doing well today. How about you, buddy?
So we got a little bit of tape here about just your audition. So we're going to go ahead and play that right now, and I want you to just watch and just kind of think about it.
If you don't give me what you owe me right now, you're gonna be doing push-ups all night. Push-ups? What's a push-up? I've never done push-ups. You need to sit up in the front lead and rest and give me 20 right now. Push all the way down. I want that chest touching the ground. You better be in a position of attention. Down it was a preacher. She was his wife. 'Cause even when the rain falls, even when the flood starts rising, I won't fall.
So Landon, what song did you choose and why did you choose it?
So I sang Washed by the Water by a band called Need to Breathe. I've been listening to them ever since I was, a little kid. And it was a song that I also, when I went to ICC, there had an Indian Idol competition there, and I sang that song, and it ended up winning me that competition. So I thought, hey, if other people liked it there, I might as well sing it for this one too. So that's what I ended up doing.
All right, so go back to your audition day. Tell me, did you have any nerves when you're performing? What is that like? And compare it to any other performance you do in front of a regular audience.
So when you're performing for a lot of people, 100, even into the thousands, it's not as nerve-wracking because you can't really pick out a specific person. You're performing to a room rather than people, even though that kind of sounds crazy. But when you perform to just 3 people just staring at you like that, it gets way more personal. So there's a lot more nerves and anxiety that go into it. You know they're going to hear every note that you mess up. So you kind of have to, be a little bit tighter and a little bit more sure of yourself than you normally are.
So go over some of the things that the judges say to you. What were you thinking? And did you take that criticism or that review to heart?
Well, for the most part, they were very complimentary. Lionel Richie gave me some great praise, and so did Luke Bryan. But then Katy Perry, the only negative I guess I could say was that she said I didn't need to try so hard. I could rest on my voice just a little bit more and actually just let that carry the song rather than me trying to show off and do big notes and stuff like that. And I did take that to heart, and hopefully that helps me further down the road.
So you're in the Army, right?
I am in the Army, yes.
So you opened up the audition with you yelling at the judges.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that. How did that come about?
So a lot of people, I guess, would think that was scripted, but they didn't warn me of that at all. I went in there with full of expectations of this, talking to the judges for a minute and then singing a song. But it looked like they wanted to play a little bit of a game. So I decided that, hey, it's a better idea to go with it than to be like, no, I'm not doing that. So I just, they said, hey, yell at us like you would at your soldiers, and so I just dug in and did it like they told me, and it ended up being a really good time. We had fun with it.
Has any of your Army friends say that? What do they say about it?
Depends on who you talk to. Some guys think that you're really dumb because they're like, oh man, that was really corny what you did on TV. But then you get the other ones that are like, you made Katy Perry do push-ups. That's like the coolest thing I've ever seen. So it really just depends on who you talk to. But for the most part, 99.9% of the people were laughing and enjoying it with me. So what's
the process like getting on the show? What do you have to go through?
So in order to get on the show, there's a cattle call and all kinds of pre-stuff, lots of talking with producers and all that kind of stuff. You don't actually meet the television judges till way later on. So I had to dig through and get through all that stuff before I was able to meet them. I did that in New Orleans, and then I ended up flying out to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. You wouldn't think Idaho is a pretty place, but it's very gorgeous, and got to fly out there to do my audition for the TV judges. And so once I did all of that, then that got me sent to Hollywood. So there's a lot to it that's not on camera, but I mean, it's all part of the process, and you have to get through it, and it's a good way to handle it, I think.
Talk about some of the other people auditioned. Did you ever get a chance to talk to any of them?
Oh yeah, definitely. After getting through the part with Katy Perry and them at the very beginning, you got to meet a lot more of the contestants, and so they, I'm telling you, man, like, you're just honored to be there with them, because there's so many amazing people there, and you look at yourself and compare yourself to those, you know, several hundred other kids, and you're just thinking, man, I don't even know how I can compete with these guys, because they're just that good. And I mean, the girls are just as great. So it's a totally different thing than playing in small town Mississippi. You're put up against some of the best people in the country.
All right, so just briefly kind of just talk about what's next.
What's next? So Hollywood Week is starting and to be aired, I guess, this Sunday. So if you want to check that out, that'll show the beginnings of, you get to sing a little bit of the song at the beginning of the week, and then they group night and all that kind of stuff that happens throughout the week. So all that takes place in LA, and so you'll get to see how I handled all that.
Well, that's all the time we have right now, but man, I thank you for being up here, and happy birthday.
Absolutely, I appreciate it, bro.
Take 30 News is the only student-powered television news program at Mississippi State.
We've got the latest weather report.
We go far and wide to tell you the stories you need to hear from your campus. From parking.
Parking spots are becoming more and more scarce.
To sports.
Also, the opening of the new Polk DeMint Stadium.
To how to stay healthy.
It is supposed to lessen your symptoms.
Take 30 News is the news you need, wrapped in maroon and white.
Well, that's all the time that we have for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Take 30 News. I'm Megan Terry.
And I'm Rudy Williams. Thank you. We'll see you again next week.
Yep.